So I'm doing the mix, and I wanted to mention something. It might be tempting. Now, it depends what kind of size buckets you have. I like these buckets because they're readily available, and you can fill them full when you're doing sand for your mix. But it might be tempting to fill them full when you're putting your mix in the bag. Now look at this mix. It's pretty much perfect. It's crumbly, but it holds a form. It's where you don't want it too wet or you'll get what I call a jelly roll. That's when your bag is all squishy and it's leaching water and it won't tamp down properly. But the point of this video is for you to think about if you've got a bucket that is bigger or the same size as the mouth of your bag, it might be tempting to fill it up. But problem is, if you've got a full bucket, you come over here and you're trying to pour it into the bag. If your bucket's full, what's going to happen is you're going to be pouring and pouring, and the weight of all that sand is going to make this slip off the bucket, and then it's going to spill all over the place. It's way better to consistently fill the bag with half full buckets than it is to do full buckets. Also, these buckets with the mix in, they're pretty heavy, and you're going to wear your forearms out. I find that if I work for 5 or so hours straight, especially by myself, and I'm mixing and I'm digging and I'm lifting these buckets and I'm filling the bag. When I fill the bag, I shake that bucket a little bit to empty the contents out. After a while, my forearms, they start to go. Those are the muscles that start to go first. When that happens, no matter how much I hydrate, how many bananas I eat, that's what happens is those muscles start to lock up. So you want to fill this bucket halfway, 3/4 at the most. Otherwise, when you're pouring it into that bag, it's going to slip out and you're going to end up spilling half your contents. It's no big deal to just kind of scoop it back up with this little bit of sand and put it back in the bucket and put it back in the bag. That's fine. But you'll find if you're constantly spilling your sand mix, it's because your buckets are too full. So fill the buckets halfway and then you'll have an easier time. At Cal Earth, they recommend using like a coffee can, but I don't know about you, but finding those type of cans, it's a little bit harder. These buckets, they don't cost hardly anything, cost like a couple bucks each. They've got a handle on them. The handle is really great, and I can use these buckets for making my mix and for putting them in the bag, and that's what you want. You want something that's going to do all of those jobs at the same time. So don't fill your buckets all the way full with your mix to go in your bag, or you're just going to end up with lots of problems. So if you want to see more information about the Super Adobe building process, how I built this one and this one step by step, I have blog entries where every build day is a blog entry. And I got photos and I've got a little bit of tips and tricks that was fresh from my mind when I was building it on that day. So you can see how many days it took to build these structures by going to my blog. My blog is scottSuperAdobe.blogspot.com, and I'll put a link to that in the description. So check it out. And of course, I'll also put a link to the Emergency Sandbag Shelter, because if you read that book, Emergency Sandbag Shelter by Nader Khalili, he's the founder of Cal Earth. That book is going to teach you 99% of everything you need to know. And I think that if you can't make it to Cal Earth, if you can't invest in the online course, then just get that book, get yourself some bag, go get yourself some Portland cement and a shovel and start experimenting with these materials. Because, I definitely highly recommend the course, because the online course, or if you can make it to Cal Earth for a workshop, What you will learn in a day at a workshop is probably the equivalent of 6 months of home study. I mean, it is just amazing when you can interactively ask questions. But the funny thing is, all the questions that I had before I started building were answered before I finished the first couple rows. You start to get your own methodology and you get into your own groove, and that's really, you will learn more by doing than you will by watching these videos, by reading that book. But the book is the foundation, and it's an amazing book, and they show you the structures that they've built and how to build those structures that they've already built. So when you're watching Cal Earth videos, when you're looking at the eco village that they've set up, you actually have the blueprints and the plans and step by step how to build the structures that they've built. And that's great for brainstorming, because even if you're going to build something completely of your own design, there are certain principles that you need to take into consideration. Like you can see the leaning arch. That's something that they explain in the book. And, you'll be able to build pretty much anything that your mind can conceive of within the rules of Super Adobe just by reading that book and starting to do it. So I hope you found this video valuable. Hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification, and you will be able to build along with me, because you'll get notified when I upload a video after every build day. All right, thanks for watching.